This is a quick video to introduce my new project. It's a 1981 Lotus Esprit S3, so that's the non-turbo version of the car, in its original black with gold wheels, as you can see, BBS alloys. So far, I mean, this car was a barn find in non-running condition. So the interior's largely stripped out, and I've been doing quite a lot of work on the engine. So far, these Delauto carburetors have both been rebuilt professionally. The ignition under the distributor is from 123 ignition in the Netherlands, and that can run as a mapped electronic ignition, and this is the coil that came with it. And that allows you to use an app on the phone to change the ignition curve, and you can also plumb it in with a vacuum map sensor, so you can adjust the curve according to load. So if I were to do that, I'd probably have to take a take off of the little ports on each carb, link them together, have some sort of little plenum to even out the vacuum, and then that just plugs into the side of the distributor. The oil filter is the white thing right down there. That's quite difficult to get to with all the stuff in place. Now I've just put on a new high torque starter motor that's here. The old starter motor is absolutely massive, and a bit of a pain in the neck, so I've replaced it with a nice modern light one. Saves a couple of kilos. Under either side here there are fuel tanks. They were both rotten, so they had to come out, and they've been replaced by aluminium ones, which again saves a couple of kilos, and hopefully means they won't rot anytime soon. This was made by a nice chap in Northern Ireland for me. It's an alloy tank in place of the steel one for the water. The steel ones rot through at the base, and mine was leaking quite a lot. Other than that, what have I done? These brakes on the rear are from a VW, I think a Passat. They're a lot lighter than the original ones. The original ones are getting quite difficult to rebuild, so I've put these on, which a lot of the specialists basically supply them or variations of them. Again, saves a few kilos. With Lotus, the main aim is to have them as light as possible, and so that I can eat more donuts and put loads of stuff in the car to counteract the good work. But here I've probably saved, I think it's about 7 kilos on the 2 fuel tanks, maybe a kilo or 2 for the starter motor, and probably the same for the brakes. So it's a weight saving worth having. Other things that I've done, it's got all new ignition leads. I took off the cylinder head covers and painted them, and resealed them, although the bottom one still actually does leak a bit of oil. I mean, the engine bay was disgusting when I got this. It had like 20 years of dust from sitting on top of probably another 20 years of oil grime. This is not clean, but it's workable at the moment. When I got it, it was just disgusting. This little tube here, the black tube, that goes to the oil pressure sender in behind the dash, and that had fractured. So when I first started the engine, it poured like a litre of oil onto the drive, which was a bit of a mess. But to replace that, you have to feed the pipe all the way through the interior and then into the back of the dash, which is a bit irritating. And other than that, I've had lots of electrical issues to resolve. Not the car's fault, it stood for years, so it's just been cleaning up switches, cleaning up connections, changing relays for new ones, and now all the lights work. That took a long time. The pop-up headlights work. I've put in low energy bulbs to make life a bit easier for the electrical system, and they actually light up the road, unlike the old halogens. And the other thing I've done, which may be a bit controversial, is that here I've put a modern alternator on the car. This is 115 amp output in theory, and the one that was on here had, I think it was 75 amps or something like that. And you might think, well, why on earth would you put such a massive alternator on the car? Well, first of all, the old one was pretty much knackered, and I was told they can't be rebuilt. It was a Motorola one. And then secondly, this car doesn't have air conditioning, and to fit air conditioning you have to squeeze a aircon compressor somewhere down there below the alternator. which is also where the cam belt runs. It's just really, I mean, doing the cam belt was a job in itself. That took me a day or so of faffing around. I think I could do it now quite quickly, but that to do it the first time is a bit of a nightmare. But to put air conditioning pipes and compressor in there, it's just pretty cramped, and means that when you have to change the cam belt, which is every 2 years at least on these, it's in the way. So I thought what I might do is go for electric compressor, put that in the front where the spare wheel would be, and then you could plumb the evaporator straight into the existing heating system at the front, and that would be relatively easy. But of course, those systems, even though they're getting better every day, still draw tons of power. So I've got a big alternator, the biggest I could find that would fit here. I had to make up all sorts of bracket adjustments to actually get it to fit on the mounting points. And then this big red cable is a massive output cable that goes to the starter motor, where it joins onto the battery cable, which works its way through here and goes to the battery, which normally would sit in this corner under here. When I got the car, there was no floor in the battery hole, so I had to fiberglass a battery box in there, and there's the battery ready to go in. So I've done quite a few things so far, but the next major job is I've got the bulkhead partly dismantled because it was rotten at the far edge. So there's a big metal bar that runs across from one side to the other that holds the seat belts and provides a division between the hot and smelly parts of the car and the interior. So that was rotten in places, so I've cut out the wood, and the next job is to let in some new bits of plywood to make that solid, and then I can put new carpets in, and I've got a lovely set of seats and interior to go in the car, which will make it all nice again. But quite a lot of work, but I think actually I've got past the worst of it. I mean, the fuel tanks was probably the worst thing, because getting those out, it looks like they should be easy to get out, but it's not. They're pretty horrible. Fortunately, the new ones are made a bit smaller, so you can just pop them in much easier. But that was a big job, and I'm glad it's done. So there we are. I'll update you as I do more.